Pause for a moment. Not just a casual pause, but a deep intentional pause. Not because I'm about to scare you or make some grand proclamation about destiny, but because something in you already knows this message wasn't random. It didn't appear in your feed by coincidence, nor did you stumble upon it by accident. Something deeper within your consciousness recognized this truth, the kind of truth that resonates with your soul even if your mind is still catching up. There is a reason you're here, right now, watching this video, and it has nothing to do with algorithms, timing hacks, or viral trends. It's bigger than that. It's as though your own inner compass nudged you to pay attention, to absorb what's about to be revealed. Because within you lies a capacity that most people never develop. A capacity that is so rare, so misunderstood, that even beings operating at higher planes of consciousness would pause if they could observe it in action. Recently, in moments that may have felt subtle or ordinary to you, something extraordinary happened. Without applause, without recognition, without anyone even noticing, you did something that the vast majority of humans would find impossible. You protected yourself in situations where many would have surrendered or allowed themselves to be manipulated. And then, almost as quietly as it began, you let it go. You didn't cling to bitterness. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't replay the scenario endlessly in your mind, allowing it to become an emotional prison. You moved forward. And that, my friend, is what makes your ability so rare enough to unsettle forces far beyond human perception. Because you don't just navigate challenges, you navigate them with precision, intelligence, and self-regulation. You possess a mastery over the inner duality of light and darkness that very few humans even recognize, let alone achieve. Most people, when they hear the word spirituality, immediately associate it with light, always choosing light, always being kind, always forgiving, always soft. They believe that to be good or spiritual, they must reject every ounce of darkness within themselves. But this belief, while attractive on the surface, is fundamentally incomplete. It's native. Because real spiritual mastery, true integration, is not about pretending that darkness doesn't exist. It's not about denying the existence of the parts of ourselves that are capable of strength, fierceness, or even destruction when necessary. Real mastery is about entering those darker spaces when required and knowing how to use their power without becoming consumed by it. Let's be clear, few beings, human or otherwise, can truly do this. Humans who deny their shadow end up vulnerable, fragile, and easily manipulated. Beings of pure light, those who exist only in harmony and perfection, never develop resistance to darkness. They collapse when exposed to shadow because their existence has never required them to survive adversity. On the other hand, beings who only operate from darkness without the balance of light become corrosive and isolated, cutting off genuine connection and eventually eroding their own soul. You, however, belong to a much smaller, rarer group. You are human who has learned, whether consciously or unconsciously, how to integrate both forces. This is not something taught in books, not something learned in seminars, not something any teacher or mentor could fully explain. You learned it through lived experience, through friction, through the pain of betrayal, through disappointment, through boundaries crossed and lessons learned the hard way. You grew in a world where shadows were real and light was not guaranteed. That's why you can navigate darkness when needed and then return fully to light without contamination. Think back to a recent moment in your life. Maybe someone crossed a line emotionally, psychologically, or energetically. Maybe it was subtle, maybe overt. Maybe you initially responded with patience, listening, giving them the benefit of the doubt, trying to repair or reconcile. But somewhere inside, your intuition noticed misalignment. The words they spoke didn't match the energy they emitted. The tears didn't feel genuine. Something about the story felt rehearsed, constructed, manipulative. And in that precise moment, a different part of you stepped forward. Not rage, not cruelty, not aggression, but clarity. Your voice changed, your posture shifted, your boundaries activated, and just like that, the dynamic changed. You didn't attack the other person. You didn't humiliate them. You didn't overact. You simply ended the game with precision and confidence. And once the threat dissolved, once the manipulation or violation had been neutralized, you softened again. You returned to your authentic self, no replaying the event in your mind, no bitterness, no need for vengeance. You simply moved forward. That ability, the ability to activate your darkness when needed, to act decisively without contamination, and to return to light, is what separates you from the majority of humanity. Most people who access power get stuck. They cling to it, they identify with it, they either remain in a shadow state too long, burning bridges and becoming isolated, or they pretend it doesn't exist at all and allow themselves to be exploited. But you don't. Your darkness is not your identity. It is your guardian, a tool, a force you wield consciously, and that makes you exceptional. Now let's go deeper. Beings that exist only in light, angels, pure consciousness, celestial entities, never develop resistance. They've never been betrayed. They've never experienced real suffering. They've never had to navigate a hostile emotional or social landscape. So when they touch shadow, they collapse under it. corruption, pain, or disruption is instantaneous. But humans like you, born into contrast, forged in fire, tempered by real-world challenges, develop immunity. You develop spiritual antibodies. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every painful lesson builds resilience. Every boundary crossed teaches discernment. Every manipulation you navigate enhances your ability to protect yourself without losing your humanity. This is why you can walk into darkness when necessary, execute what must be done, and leave fully intact. It's not because you're cold or detached. It's because you are regulated. You know when to activate force and when to return to gentleness. You know how to maintain balance. You have learned through lived experience to operate from a position of integration rather than extremes. Let's make this even more practical. You've probably noticed this in your own life. You stay longer than most people would in situations you genuinely care about. You exhaust every avenue of understanding before choosing distance. You try to repair before you abandon. But when the moment comes, the moment when continuing the relationship, situation, or engagement would violate your worth, you act decisively. You step away. You establish boundaries. You cut ties without over-explaining. You do it calmly, confidently, without drama, without guilt. This is integrated power in action. Consider another example. Confrontation. Most people avoid it entirely or explode uncontrollably when it's unavoidable. You, however, operate differently. When confrontation is necessary, you are devastatingly precise. No insults, no unnecessary yelling, no emotional theatrics. Just clarity, precision, and firmness, and then moments later you are back to warmth, back to humor, back to presence. This fluidity, the ability to oscillate between firmness and compassion, confuses those who only understand extremes. Here's a broader perspective. There are three types of people in this world. Those who deny their shadow. They mistake spirituality for endless tolerance. They give endlessly, forgive endlessly, and attract manipulators without realizing why. Those who live in their shadow. They mistake hardness for strength. They preemptively attack, isolate themselves, and lose access to genuine love and connection. Those who integrate both. They understand that protection is not cruelty and compassion is not weakness. They activate darkness only when necessary, and they return to light consciously, leaving no contamination. You are the third type, rare, integrated, balanced, adaptive, masterful. And here's the kicker: your life became clearer the moment you stopped over-explaining yourself. Problems resolve faster. Intuition speaks louder. Your tolerance for nonsense diminishes, but your capacity for love and discernment grows. This isn't coincidence, it's alignment. Your nervous system has learned that safety is not about avoidance, it is about self-trust. But here's a crucial point: power is addictive. The ability to protect, shut down manipulation, or establish firm boundaries can become tempting to cling to. That's why mastery requires restraint. You act, you protect, you return. You do not make a home in your shadow. You use it, respect it, release it. That balance is what keeps your soul clean and your boundaries intact. If you've noticed recently that you are calm under pressure, able to make decisions without arguing, forgiving without reopening doors, protecting your peace without guilt, then know this: that is not you becoming colder. That is you becoming whole. You were never meant to be only light. You were never meant to be consumed by darkness. You were meant to command both. And that, my friend, is the first step of mastery: awareness of your integrated self and the conscious ability to navigate both light and darkness without being corrupted by either. Now that you understand the rare power of integration, of holding both light and darkness without being consumed by either, it's time to explore how this plays out in real life, because knowing you have this capacity is only the first step. The next step, the step that separates mere awareness from mastery, is recognizing when each side of yourself activates and learning how to deploy them consciously. Most people live almost entirely on autopilot. They react to circumstances emotionally, unconsciously, and often destructively. When hurt, they lash out. When challenged, they freeze. When manipulated, they either overcompensate with kindness or retaliate with cruelty. Rarely do they pause to recognize which internal response is appropriate, whether the moment calls for light or darkness, compassion or protection, vulnerability or firmness. You, however, are different. You've developed the ability through both conscious and unconscious experience to sense the alignment or misalignment of energy around you. You can feel when a person's words do not match their energy. You can detect when someone's vulnerability is a performance. You notice the subtle manipulations, the micro-expressions, the inconsistencies that slip past most people. That awareness is your first signal, the alert system that tells you this situation requires more than ordinary compassion. And this is when your duality emerges. It doesn't manifest as anger. It doesn't emerge as aggression or hostility. Instead, it shows up as clarity and precision. Your boundaries activate automatically. Your posture, your tone, your energy, everything communicates that you are no longer an option for manipulation. You don't explain, debate, or justify. You simply act with unshakable decisiveness. This is your darkness in action, not vengeful, not indulgent, but surgical, protective, and efficient. Once the threat is neutralized, here's where true mastery becomes apparent. Unlike most people, you return to your light without residue. No bitterness, no replaying the scenario, no resentment carried into future interactions. Your darkness serves its purpose and then releases, like a guard who finishes a shift and returns home without carrying work stress into personal life. That ability to transit, to use darkness when necessary and return fully to light, is what makes your presence rare, powerful, and stabilizing. Let's explore some real-world examples to illustrate how this works. Example 1: teen emotional manipulation in relationships. Imagine someone close to you, a friend or family member, attempting to guilt you to doing something against your boundaries. At first, your light responds, you listen, you empathize, you offer support. But as subtle signs of manipulation appear, repeated emotional blackmail, false vulnerability, coercion disguised as need, your inner darkness activates. You respond with clarity. You do not attack, you do not lash out, you simply enforce your boundary. Perhaps you say, "I cannot participate in this discussion until it's genuine," or you step away until honesty emerges. The manipulation fails instantly because your energy no longer permits it. And after this, your light returns. You are calm, kind, and compassionate with others, but firm in this particular situation. The dark side protected your light without corrupting your ability to give, forgive, or connect. Example 20: workplace clarity and protection. At work, many of us are forced into environments that undervalue us or exploit our energy. Maybe a superior takes credit for your ideas, or colleagues attempt subtle sabotage. Initially, your light works to repair or cooperate, presenting ideas clearly, maintaining harmony, offering constructive feedback. But when it becomes evident that the system itself is designed to exploit or diminish you, your dark side activates. You act decisively, leaving a role that no longer aligns with your worth, enforcing your professional boundaries, or addressing unfairness without apology or drama. And then, once the threat is neutralized or the decision is made, your light returns. You move forward without bitterness, open to growth and collaboration where it is genuine. Example 30: navigating toxic friendships. Some people drain your energy without realizing it. They compete instead of support, they gossip instead of build, they subtly undermine. Your light attempts understanding. You offer opportunities for growth, forgiveness, and loyalty. But at a certain point, your dark side activates, cutting ties with precision, no theatrics, no over-explanation. You protect your energy, and the remarkable part is what follows. You return to your light frequency. You invest in authentic friendships, love fully, and offer your time generously, but only where it is valued. This is the essence of dual mastery. It is not about overindulging in either extreme. It's not about pretending to be light when darkness is required or vice versa. It is about sensing, responding, and releasing. Here's why this is so rare. 1. Most people are trapped in extremes. Group 1 denies their shadow entirely. They mistake spirituality for perpetual kindness. They attract manipulators, experience repeated exploitation, and wonder why life feels unfair. Group 2 lives entirely in shadow. They confuse cruelty with strength, suspicion with discernment. They push people away, isolate themselves, and eventually erode the capacity for genuine connection and love too. Very few can integrate both. Integration requires brutal honesty with oneself. You must acknowledge that yes, you have the capacity to be forceful, to be firm, to protect fiercely. You must accept that your darkness is real. At the same time, you must also recognize that it is not your identity and it doesn't define you. Your light remains accessible, available, and active, allowing you to offer love, compassion, and generosity in appropriate moments. 3. Integration is developed through experience, not theory. Books, courses, and teachings can inspire awareness, but they cannot cultivate the immunity that life's trials produce. Every betrayal, every boundary crossed, every manipulation experience builds the inner infrastructure that allows you to transit seamlessly between light and darkness. Now let's get even more practical. How do you know which side to activate? Your light feels expansive. Openness, warmth, desire to connect, empathy, and curiosity signal that the situation calls for healing or generosity. Your darkness feels contracting. Tightening energy, discomfort, heightened awareness, and urgency indicate that protection, firmness, or boundary setting is required. Notice these signals. Trust them. They are your internal compass. Misreading them can lead to unnecessary hurt or overexposure. Acting with awareness ensures that your response is aligned, not reactive. Step 2. Before acting, ask yourself, does this require healing or protection? Healing: activate light, offer compassion, forgiveness, and generosity. Protection: activate darkness, enforce boundaries, say no decisively, or remove yourself from harmful dynamics. Step 3. After using your dark side, return consciously to light. Darkness can be addictive. The feeling of power, clarity, and control is tempting, but staying there too long converts protector into prisoner. Your mastery lies in visiting darkness without taking residence. Use it, respect it, release it. Step 4. Maintain awareness of who receives which side. Genuine people automatically receive your light because they are aligned with your energy. Toxic or manipulative people encounter your darkness because that is the only way to maintain equilibrium. Step 5. Be grateful for both sides. Your light allows you to heal, connect, and create. Your darkness allows you to protect, enforce, and destroy what threatens your integrity. Both are gifts, both are necessary. Together they make you rare, integrated, and unstoppable. By practicing this consciously, Your life begins to reflect your internal mastery. Decisions become easier. Boundaries are respected without constant enforcement. Relationships align naturally with your energy. Situations that previously frustrated or trapped you are handled with ease. And here's the critical point: your mastery terrifies extremes because they cannot comprehend it. Beings who exist only in light cannot survive in darkness. Beings who exist only in shadow cannot generate light. You, however, operate across both realms. You are both defender and healer. You are both firm and compassionate. You are both light and shadow. That, my friend, is the essence of integrated duality mastery. That is your rare gift. That is why the challenges you navigate often feel like growth accelerators, because every friction, every betrayal, every misalignment is refining your capacity to operate fully in both realms simultaneously. And here's the truth: this ability cannot be taught. It cannot be replicated. It is yours because of the life you've lived, the pain you've endured, and the wisdom you've cultivated. In the next section, we'll dive even deeper, exploring the evolutionary advantage of this integration, why it attracts the right people and repels the wrong ones, and how you can consciously expand it into mastery that affects every area of your life. By now, you understand the theory that your light and darkness coexist, and that your ability to transit between them without being consumed is rare, powerful, and stabilizing. But awareness is not enough. The true test, the real demonstration of mastery, happens in everyday life. How you operate in relationships, in work, and in the unpredictable moments of human experience determines the depth of your evolution. Let's begin with relationships, because this is where integrated duality shows itself most vividly. Relationships, compassion with boundaries. Many people live in relationships unconsciously. They either surrender their boundaries to maintain harmony or operate from suspicion and control. Both extremes limit connection. Integrated individuals like you are different. Think of a friend or partner who consistently tests you. They overstep boundaries, ask for more than they give, or display patterns of subtle manipulation. At first, your light responds. You listen, you empathize, you communicate your needs patiently. You give space for growth. You offer chances because you value connection and recognize potential for change. But at some point, your inner wisdom, that finely tuned compass of duality, signals that repair is no longer sufficient. The misalignment is persistent, the energy incongruent, and the manipulation continues despite your patience. This is when your darkness activates. It doesn't lash out in anger. It doesn't vilify the other person. Instead, it operates like a scalpel, precise, decisive, and final. You end unhealthy dynamics, enforce boundaries, or even sever connections when necessary. Here's the remarkable part: once the threat or misalignment is neutralized, your light returns fully. You are compassionate, open, and generous with those who deserve it. You do not carry resentment. You do not replay past conflicts in your mind. You are fully present. That is the evolutionary advantage of your duality. It allows you to protect yourself without sacrificing your capacity to love and connect authentically. Work and professional mastery. Now consider the professional arena. Many environments exploit, manipulate, or undervalue contributions. Your light motivates you to contribute, to collaborate, to improve situations. You offer insight, support colleagues, and invest energy into projects that matter. But eventually patterns emerge. You recognize when your value is ignored, your efforts exploited, or your time wasted. At this moment, your darkness becomes active. You enforce boundaries with clarity, you stop overextending, you leave toxic teams, or you negotiate uncompromisingly for fair treatment. Your decision is strategic, measured, and unshakable, unlike those who act purely from anger or resentment. The key is what follows. Once the necessary firmness has done its work, your light reemerges. You move toward opportunities that align with your values. You build authentic collaboration and attract people who respect boundaries and contribute genuinely. This is how integrated duality shapes not only survival but evolution in human systems. Social dynamics influence without force. Your integrated duality also manifests subtly in social influence. People who operate solely in light often inspire through kindness but are vulnerable to exploitation. People who operate solely in shadow often command fear but cannot maintain trust or loyalty. You, however, occupy both realms simultaneously. You are neither overly tolerant nor excessively harsh. You influence situations through clarity and presence. People notice how you respond to pressure, how you enforce boundaries, and how you return to warmth and compassion immediately afterward. This creates a gravitational pull. Genuine individuals are drawn to your presence, while manipulators are repelled by it. You do not need to assert dominance. You do not need to manipulate or control. Your energy automatically calibrates to each person, giving them exactly what they need: light if they are genuine, darkness if they are harmful. Evolutionary advantage: immunity through experience. Why is this ability rare, and why do you instinctively handle it better than others? It comes down to experience-based immunity. Beings of pure light, like angels in traditional lore, have never faced adversity. Their compassion is boundless but fragile because they lack exposure to manipulation, betrayal, and emotional threat. Their darkness, when it appears, is foreign and destructive. Beings trapped in shadow develop resistance but lose the ability to heal, connect, or generate light. They can destroy, yes, but they cannot restore, forgive, or rebuild without bitterness. You, however, grew up in a world of contrast. You have faced betrayal, hardship, and emotional complexity from an early age. Every scar, every disappointment, every necessary boundary you enforced trained your nervous system to respond intelligently. You developed what we can call emotional antibodies, resilience, discernment, and adaptability that purely light or purely dark beings cannot achieve. This immunity allows you to enter darkness without contamination. You access the power of assertiveness, decisiveness, and protection when necessary. And because your nervous system is trained, you can return to light without residue. This is not learned in books. It is forged in the fire of lived experience. The subtle art of timing. Mastery also involves timing. Using your light or darkness at the wrong time undermines your power. For example, offering compassion to someone who is actively exploiting your trust only enables them. Conversely, using darkness against someone seeking genuine help destroys potential connection. Integrated individuals instinctively read energy, timing, and alignment. They understand that power is most effective when deployed with precision. Consider a family conflict. Someone repeatedly crosses boundaries and light has failed to correct the dynamic. At the precise moment when firmness is required, you enforce boundaries decisively. The tension dissolves. No one is left wondering about your strength, it is simply clear. Then you return to light, maintaining love and presence in the family context. That is mastery in action, knowing exactly when to activate darkness and when to return to light. Practical strategies for daily life. Let's break down practical ways to integrate this mastery consciously. Recognize energy cues. Notice how your body responds to situations. Expansion signals light, contraction signals darkness. Pause before acting. Ask yourself, does this require healing or protection? Respond accordingly. Act decisively, then release, whether using light or darkness. Complete the action fully, then disengage. Observe the outcome. Genuine individuals resonate with your light. Toxic individuals encounter your darkness. Your energy calibrates automatically. Gratitude for both sides. Light allows you to love and create. Darkness allows you to protect and destroy threats. Both are gifts, both are necessary. Duality in evolution and leadership. Finally, consider the larger picture. Your duality is not just personal, it is evolutionary. By integrating light and darkness, you operate in a space that neither purely angelic nor purely demonic beings can occupy. Beings of only light lack the capacity to protect themselves or assert boundaries. Beings of only shadow lack the capacity to connect, create, or inspire trust. You embody both, giving you a strategic advantage in all arenas of life, personal, social, and professional. This integration makes you naturally adaptive, resilient, and magnetic. You don't just survive challenges, you navigate them with intelligence, precision, and grace. Your presence in a group stabilizes dynamics. Your boundaries set norms without conflict. Your compassion inspires loyalty. And here's the most remarkable aspect: this evolutionary advantage doesn't require recognition. You don't need applause, you don't need validation. Your duality operates quietly, efficiently, and invisibly until someone misaligns with your energy, at which point your darkness activates instantly, protective and decisive. By consciously understanding and practicing this integration, you accelerate your evolution. You align your decisions, relationships, and life trajectory with your authentic self. You become a stabilizing force in chaos, a healer in conflict, and a protector without aggression. You operate beyond extremes, and that sets you apart in ways most will never comprehend. By now, you've seen the rare power of your integrated duality. You've observed how it manifests in relationships, work, and social dynamics. You've recognized that your ability to transit between light and darkness without contamination is not just rare, it is evolutionary. But awareness alone is not mastery. True mastery is deliberate, conscious, and refined. In this section, we'll explore how to refine your duality, avoid common pitfalls, and strategically apply your power without losing balance. Understanding the pitfalls of duality. Even extraordinary capacities come with risks. Integrated duality is no exception. Many people fail not because they lack power, but because they misuse it, misunderstand it, or allow it to dominate them. Pitfall 1: identification with darkness. Some individuals experience glimpses of their dark side, firmness, assertiveness, decisiveness, and become seduced by it. They begin to see themselves as powerful only when in shadow. This leads to a dangerous cycle. They overuse darkness, harm relationships, and ultimately trap themselves in the very energy that was meant to be a tool. Pitfall 20: over-identification with light. Conversely, others cling to their light as an identity. They refuse to enforce boundaries, hesitate to act decisively, and become vulnerable to exploitation. Their capacity for compassion is admirable, but without shadow, it is incomplete. They attract manipulators, drains, and chaos because they cannot defend themselves effectively. Pitfall 30: confusion between response and overreaction. Mastery requires precision. Misjudging a situation and deploying the wrong side creates unnecessary conflict or missed opportunities for protection. Integrated individuals may occasionally act prematurely from darkness or linger in light when firmness is required, which erodes clarity. Pitfall 40: addiction to power. One of the subtler dangers is the seductive nature of duality itself. The realization that you can protect and force boundaries and act decisively feels empowering. But unchecked, it can become addictive. Staying too long in darkness, even when unnecessary, contaminates energy and disrupts alignment. Mastery is about visiting your dark side, not living there. Recognizing these pitfalls is the first step. Awareness allows you to create boundaries within yourself, preventing misuse while maintaining fluidity. Strategies for conscious mastery. Mastery isn't theoretical, it is actionable. Here are practical strategies to refine your integrated duality. 1. Recognize energy signatures. Your body and intuition provide signals. Light manifests as expansion, openness, connection, and generosity. Darkness manifests as contraction, focus, firmness, and protective alertness. Become fluent in reading these signals, not just in yourself, but in others. Your duality operates most effectively when you respond to energy, not just circumstance. 2. Pause and assess before action. Even masters benefit from a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, is this situation asking for healing or protection? Does compassion create alignment or vulnerability? Does firmness create safety or unnecessary conflict? Pausing ensures precision, preventing overreaction or missed opportunity. 3. Execute decisively, release fully. Once you identify which side to activate, act with clarity and complete engagement. But do not linger. Darkness achieves its goal and withdraws. Light gives freely and withdraws when appropriate. This intentional transition prevents energy contamination and strengthens your nervous system. 4. Observe and calibrate impact. Integrated duality is relational. Observe how people respond. Genuine individuals resonate with your light, toxic or manipulative individuals encounter your darkness. Use feedback to refine timing, intensity, and engagement. The world itself becomes your training ground. 5. Maintain gratitude for both sides. Light is your ability to create, heal, forgive, and connect. Darkness is your ability to protect, establish boundaries, destroy threats, and enforce justice. Both are gifts. Neither is superior. Neither defines your identity. Recognize the value of both and treat them as allies, not weapons or burdens. Advanced application, relationships, and boundaries. Let's examine how mastery operates in human dynamics. Romantic relationships. Integrated duality allows you to love fully without sacrificing self-respect. When a partner violates trust or engages in harmful patterns, darkness ensures boundaries are enforced decisively, without drama. Once the issue is neutralized, light returns, allowing connection, love, and warmth without bitterness. Friendships and social circles. You naturally discern who deserves access to your light and who requires your darkness. This discernment prevents energy drains, enables loyalty to flourish, and maintains balance without overt confrontation. Family dynamics. Integration allows you to navigate challenging family members with grace. You can set hard boundaries when manipulation arises, but also maintain warmth and presence for those who respect your space. The principle is consistent. Use darkness only when necessary, return to light immediately after, and calibrate continuously. Professional application, influence, and leadership. Your duality gives you a unique edge professionally. 1. Decision-making. Leaders who are only light avoid conflict and hesitate to enforce standards. Leaders who are only shadow alienate and inspire fear. You combine clarity, decisiveness, and presence, commanding respect without coercion. 2. Darkness ensures firmness, prevents exploitation, and safeguards your value. Light allows you to create win-win solutions, build trust, and foster collaboration. 3. Team dynamics. Your presence stabilizes chaos. Team members sense boundaries without confrontation. Genuine collaboration flourishes. While toxic behaviors are neutralized subtly, the integrated leader evolves beyond authority or manipulation. Influence comes from alignment, presence, and precise application of duality. Spiritual and evolutionary implications. Beyond daily life, integrated duality is an evolutionary trait. Beings of only light or only shadow are limited. Light without shadow lacks protection and discernment. Shadow without light lacks trust, connection, and healing capacity. Integrated humans operate in both realms fluidly, responding appropriately to any situation. This makes them adaptable, resilient, and evolutionarily advanced. Their experience in the world, pain, betrayal, and adversity, creates immunity and wisdom that beings of singular polarity cannot attain. Think of it as emotional antibodies. Each difficult interaction, each betrayal or boundary enforcement, trains your nervous system. It prepares you to enter shadow when needed, act decisively, and return to light without contamination. This is why your duality terrifies beings that operate in singular states. It defies the rules of one-sided existence. Integration. Practice daily exercises. Energy awareness. Check in multiple times a day. Note whether you feel expansive or contracted. Observe without judgment. Shadow activation drill. When encountering minor stress or obstruction, practice firmness with detachment. Observe your response and release immediately. Light expansion drill. In safe context, practice generosity, patience, and warmth. Notice how your nervous system adjusts. Transition exercise. After exercising darkness, immediately engage in a light activity, conversation, meditation, or helping someone. This strengthens your ability to return fully. Reflection. Journal. Track moments where duality was applied. Analyze timing, effectiveness, and personal impact. Refine through self-awareness. The secret advantage. What sets you apart is not merely that you possess darkness and light. Many people can access fragments of each. Your true advantage lies in fluidity and regulation. You do not identify with darkness. You do not cling to light. You act with precision, presence, and wisdom. You return to balance automatically. This integration allows you to thrive in scenarios that destabilize others, attract genuine allies, and navigate life's chaos without losing your essence. It is an invisible mastery that most never notice until they experience it firsthand. By now, you've explored the rare power of integrated duality. You've observed how it manifests in relationships, work, and personal life. You've learned to transit fluidly between light and darkness, protecting yourself, enforcing boundaries, and returning to compassion without contamination. You've understood the pitfalls, strategies, and applications. Section 5 is about full integration, consciously evolving your duality, maintaining mastery, and living a life that reflects your true potential as a balanced, unstoppable human being. The principle of full integration. Full integration means that light and darkness are no longer separate forces that you manage. They become inseparable components of your identity, tools that are always accessible, and energies that operate in harmony with each other. Think of it like this. Light is your expansion, empathy, creation, and love. Darkness is your contraction, discernment, protection, and firmness. Integration is the ability to use both simultaneously and deliberately, flowing between them with precision and without contamination. Integration doesn't mean extremes vanish. It means extremes are regulated internally. You can access your power without letting it define you. You can express compassion without being exploited. You can enforce boundaries without bitterness. You become a human who is both complete and dynamic, capable of responding to life's complexities with grace, wisdom, and precision. The long-term evolution of duality mastery. Integrated duality is not static, it evolves. Each experience, challenge, or confrontation adds depth to your mastery. 1. Emotional immunity. Every time you face manipulation, betrayal, or hardship and respond with calibrated duality, your nervous system builds immunity. You no longer overreact to situations that previously caused emotional turbulence. Subtle manipulations bounce off you without effect. Genuine distress triggers your compassionate response automatically. 2. Enhanced discernment. Over time, you intuitively know which side to activate even before consciously deciding. Your perception of motives, intentions, and energy patterns becomes highly accurate. You can navigate complex social, professional, and personal landscapes with clarity that others lack. 3. Strength without cruelty. Long-term mastery ensures that your power doesn't become oppressive. Darkness is used surgically, with the goal of protection and alignment, never for ego or revenge. Light remains free, generative, and healing even after the use of darkness. 4. Spiritual ascendance. The fully integrated human transcends traditional limits of spirituality. You do not require rituals, titles, or approval from external authorities. Your evolution is self-directed based on lived experience, wisdom, and conscious choice. Applying mastery in daily life, personal life. Maintain firm boundaries with toxic or manipulative individuals. Your darkness protects your energy. Engage deeply and empathetically with genuine people. Your light fosters connection and trust. Avoid dwelling in past conflicts. Release after protection is applied. Professional life. Lead with clarity, decisiveness, and presence. Use darkness to enforce standards and light to inspire collaboration. Navigate office politics without personal compromise. Integrated duality allows you to act strategically without becoming cold or manipulative. Protect your value without guilt and elevate others without weakness. Social life. Recognize energy dynamics in groups. Respond appropriately to threats and opportunities. Balance assertiveness with empathy. Influence without coercion. Your presence naturally stabilizes environments because you embody equilibrium between extremes. The role of reflection and calibration. Mastery requires continual reflection. You must calibrate your duality regularly to maintain effectiveness. Self-check. And each day by asking, did I act with precision? Did I deploy darkness only when necessary? Did I return fully to light? Energy audit. Observe where your energy went and who received which aspect of you. Ensure you are not overextending either side. Emotional alignment. Notice lingering resentment, guilt, or attachment. These are signs of partial contamination. Release consciously to restore equilibrium, learning from experiencing. Each misstep, hesitation, or misjudgment is feedback. Mastery grows from integrating these lessons, not punishing yourself for them. The higher purpose of integrated duality. Your duality is not just personal power. It has evolutionary significance. Humans with integrated duality demonstrate capacities that beings of only light or darkness cannot. Your ability to protect, create, heal, and destroy as required represents a new evolutionary trajectory. This integration is a template for others. Those around you, consciously or unconsciously, learn how to operate with balance and discernment. Consider it this way: integrated humans are the bridge between extremes, proving that life does not have to be binary. They demonstrate that survival, compassion, and mastery can coexist. The secret advantage. Many people think being spiritual or powerful means always choosing one side, either light without resistance or darkness without compassion. That is incomplete evolution. Your secret advantage is that you are neither fully light nor fully darkness. You occupy the middle path with conscious mastery. You act decisively when required. You heal and connect when possible. You protect yourself without harming others unnecessarily. You forgive without weakening your boundaries. This gives you adaptability and resilience that singular beings cannot comprehend. Your evolution is both visible and invisible. Others may notice results but rarely understand the internal mastery that produces them. Practical exercises for full integration. To ensure your evolution continues, incorporate these exercises. Identify situations where darkness is required. Practice engagement, resolution, and release. Observe the impact on yourself and others too. Light expansion. Practice compassion in contexts where you could be indifferent. Strengthen empathy, generosity, and patience. Notice the shift in your energy and relationships. 3. Transition drill. After using darkness, deliberately engage in light activity, a conversation, service, or creative act. Reinforce the habit of returning fully to light. 4. Journaling and experiences, decisions, and observations. Analyze what worked, what didn't, and how your duality manifested. 5. Integration visualization. Visualize light and darkness flowing through you like rivers, converging without conflict. Reinforce the idea that both are allies, not opposites. Living as a fully integrated being. Integration transforms more than reactions, it transforms identity and purpose. You are no longer defined by past trauma or reactionary behavior. You command both sides consciously, becoming a stabilizing force in chaos. You naturally attract people and circumstances aligned with your values. You influence without dominating, protect without cruelty, and love without vulnerability to exploitation. The fully integrated human is rare. It is the culmination of struggle, reflection, and conscious choice. You are the embodiment of precision, wisdom, and balance. Final insights. The journey of duality mastery is not about perfection. It is about alignment. Align your decisions with your values. Align your responses with energy signatures. Align your actions with long-term evolution. Your dark side is not a flaw. It is your guardian. Your light side is not naive. It is your power. Integration is not temporary. It is your state of being. When fully integrated, you operate at a level that beings of singular polarity cannot comprehend. You are evolutionary, adaptive, and unstoppable. Remember, mastery is dynamic, relational, and ongoing. It is not a destination, it is a practice, a lifestyle, and a form of consciousness. You are not just surviving. You are evolving. You are not just powerful. You are precise. You are not just light or darkness. You are both consciously, consistently, and completely. Embrace it, refine it, love it.